Why is it easier for you to stay silent than it is to say what you need? The reason you feel unseen, it's not because no one cares. It's because you never actually communicate what you need. And today, we're going to figure out why that is. So we're answering the question, why you struggle to say what you need. Why you struggle to say what you need. And of course, this is something that goes back to the origin, as a lot of things on this channel does. It goes back to what we experienced when we were kids. It goes back to our childhood experience and the things that we seen and how we learned to survive in the environments that we grew up in. So we're going to get into the why this happens. And as I said, a lot of it starts at the origin. So first reason why this happens. It always goes back to the nervous system. The reason why we talk so much about nervous system on this channel is because your nervous system is the thing that is imprinted in you, right? Our nervous system is wired through experience. So when you are triggered with something that you experienced as a child, but you're triggered in adulthood, it's because it's imprinted into your nervous system. It's now wired. That's how your body and your brain works. That's how the brain signals the body that you're now in danger. So when you dealt with uncomfortable situations as a kid, you just learn that those situations are dangerous. And your body never rewires to let you know that, yes, you may be in a similar situation, but you're not that person that you were when you were a kid, right? You're not the helpless kid anymore now facing the situation. So that's why we talk so much about the impact of the nervous system on this channel. So your nervous system links, excuse my writing, links needs with threat. So how would your nervous system link needs? I'm sorry, links is going to bother me. That's really ugly. Not that the rest of my handwriting was great, right? But that links was really bad. Okay, there we go. Your nervous system links needs with threat. How would your nervous system link needs with threat? So when you were a kid, you may have come to one of your caregivers to express some sort of feeling that you had. And instead of it being met with validation or empathy, or even, some sort of physical comfort like a hug or, something. If it was not met with some sort of validation to let you know that this is a safe space for me to bring my feelings to, then it's going to wire your nervous system to think when I bring up my needs, it's a threat. So it may have been met with some type of distancing, right? Your caregiver may have just left you alone, like, they didn't want to deal with it. Sometimes a caregiver will get angry about your feelings, right? So they'll get angry that you're even expressing that you're having a difficult feeling or you need support in that feeling. Or, it may have been met with punishment, right? You may have expressed something that you were feeling, and instead of your caregiver approaching it with some level of curiosity as to what was going on, they may have just punished you for it. So these are different examples of signals to your nervous system that when I bring up a need, when I bring up a feeling that I have, or if I bring up, it could just be, in some simple cases, you're doing your homework and you need a pencil. And you asked for a pencil and somebody snapped on you and said, I bought you 1,000,000 pencils. Why don't you have one now? Right? Just the reaction that you received in these situations may have been harsh and in some ways confusing to you, and delivered the message to your brain, which signaled your body, when I have a need and I ask, it's a threat. It's not safe to do that here. So that may be one reason why you struggle to say what you need. Here's another one. You were taught to prioritize. We're taught to prioritize others to stay connected. So you learned that love is conditional. You learn that empathy, connection, all of those things are conditional. If I am coming with difficult emotion, then people are going to disconnect from me. So I'm going to take on the qualities of being helpful. I'm going to take on the qualities of being quiet. I'm going to take on the quality of just being funny, right? Because if I am palatable, right? If my personality and my feelings are easy to swallow for other people, then I can stay in connection with other people, right? Because when my feelings get too big, or I get sad, or if I get angry, those are the things that make people disconnect from me. That may have been something that you learned. So you prioritize others in order to stay connected, which means you don't bring a feeling to them that you think will make them feel uncomfortable. You're very dialed in to what makes them comfortable and what feeling you can bring to them that they'll be able to handle and swallow within themselves, right? So you bring the easy feelings like we just talked about. So again, that would teach you to not say what you need. If I make myself more palatable, then I can stay connected. So when I have a real need, I'm just not going to say anything because I know it's not going to be met with any sort of validation or assistance. The next one. And this is a consequence of the one before it. You don't trust that. Ooh, here we go. You don't trust that your needs matter. In order to express your needs, you have to believe that your need matters. If fundamentally you feel like your need doesn't matter anyway, then you're not even going to waste your time to make yourself uncomfortable enough to be vulnerable when you know it's not going to be met with anything. And the reason you may do this is, again, the things that we talked about. So you don't even try to say what you need because you don't trust that your needs matter anyway. So it never even comes out of your mouth for somebody to assist you. So that's another why. And the last one. And this is something I believe shows up more in adulthood. After an adult has learned these things from when they have tried to seek support, when they were met with dismissal, or they've been met with disconnection or punishment or just invalidation. They could have been laughed at. It's a bunch of ways that you can make someone feel invalidated about their feelings, right? So if they were met with one of those things consistently enough that they have learned, when I am vulnerable, when I do share my needs, it doesn't do anything, right? Nobody seems to, in the environment that I started out in, nobody seemed to care in that environment about what my needs were. They begin, like I said, this shows up in adulthood. They begin to show this, adults begin to show this as they get older. You confuse independence with strength and safety. You see adults with the attitude of, I don't need anybody. I'm independent. I can do it all on my own. The underlying part of that is I'm independent because I didn't trust anyone to be able to do it with me or for me as a kid. Because there are some things that you need adults to do for you in order to keep you safe. But you learned that doesn't happen consistently. You learn that people are not showing up for me due to the environment that I was raised in. People don't show up for me. So now I've taken on this identity of I'm just a strong, independent person, right? And you think because you're the strong, independent person, that's what's keeping you safe. And I'm actually here to dismantle that, because independence never keeps you safe. Interdependence is what keeps you safe. You were never designed to be totally independent. We are created to be in relationship with one another. Nobody is created to be an island. And actually, the people I have met in life who are struggling the most and who are the most unhappy are the people who have built walls around themselves, walls of isolation, because they never learn to say what they need, and they've never learned to build relationship with people who will be responsive when they say what they need. They have taken from their childhood that everybody is the same. If they didn't look out for me then, why would they look out for me now? And if there's one thing you take away from this channel, it's that the people you grew up around, the people in your family, the people in your neighborhood, but whatever, those people do not make up the entire world, right? Those people don't even make up the 30 block radius around you. There are people who come in different belief systems, different character, all of those things. Just because somebody did not give you what you need as a kid doesn't mean that there is nobody in the world, or no, I gotta stop saying the world, because what's the likelihood you're gonna hop on a plane and go to Italy or something? I mean, to find somebody. You may, but that's realistically, that's not gonna be the majority of us that just pick up and go somewhere. So let's talk about a smaller radius. Like I said, there are people with different belief systems, different characters, willing to do different things from you, just in the 15, 30 block radius around you, right? Just in the city that you're in. Not everybody is the same. The world does not make up. The world is not made up of people who exhibit the same behaviors as the people you grew up around. I know when you were a kid, it felt like the world, right? Because you didn't know anything else. These are the only people you knew. These people were your world. So I can see how those experiences have made you feel like everybody is like that. But if there's one thing you take away from this channel, I hope it is to realize that they're not. And you have power now that you're an adult to come into relationship with people who are not like those people. So if you are still coming into relationship with people who are like the people you grew up with, and those people did not treat you in a healthy manner, you have to put some of that blame on yourself now to continue to keep people like that around you, because you have the power. You may not have known. I'm glad that you're watching this so that I can be a person to tell you that you have choice. You have agency. You have power in the people that you keep around you. Don't make them like those people. Don't make your childhood the rest of your life, because how unfair is that to you? We'll get into calls. So I'm already starting to kick into calls, but you confuse independence with strength and safety. Like I said, independence is not safety, right? If you walked into the world by yourself and something crazy popped off, how safe are you now, right? How safe are you to have no one to call in a crisis? How safe are you to have no one to call if you catch a flat tire, right? If you don't have any food in the house, if anything happens, how safe are you as an independent person? You're not. You've just learned that it feels better to say I'm a strong, independent person instead of being vulnerable enough to change the pattern of what you've seen in your childhood. So now we're going to kick into the pillar that this falls under. On this channel, we look at everything through the framework and the lens of the whole method. The whole method is a framework to assist you in your transformation. It is a roadmap. It is a roadmap to your transformation, your most joyous life, and it comes with 5 pillars. Witness, heal, own, love, execute. Those are the 5 pillars of the whole method. So, in every question that we answer on this channel, we look at it through the whole method. Oh, I hear my daughter somewhere. She might come in. Okay, so the method that this hits is witness. The reason why it hits witness is because actually it hits witness and heal. Because witness, let's start with witness. Witness takes you from chaos to awareness. That's what you're learning when it comes to, I hear my daughter. I have a 1-year-old. Witness, in the pillar witness, we're going from chaos to awareness. And chaos is within your thoughts. It's the disruption in your thought pattern that brings out unhelpful thought patterns instead of helpful thought patterns. And the reason why it may bring out unhelpful thought patterns are because of the things that you grew up seeing, the conditioning of experience that you had, where you continue to repeat the negative patterns that you saw in your childhood. So that's witness. Heal goes from burdened to understanding. And what are you burdened with in your life? A lot of people are burdened with what they learned from their childhood. They're burdened with the thoughts in their mind. And again, those thoughts came from the conditioning that you experienced as a kid. So the pillar that why you struggle to say what you need goes with the 2 pillars, witness and heal. So let's get into the cost of this. And I already said that one of the biggest costs is that you continue to repeat the same pattern that you saw in your childhood. That as an adult, if you continue to repeat this pattern, you are now the one responsible for your own heartache and hardship, which actually is the best news that I can give you. Because if as an adult, you are responsible for your own heartache and hardship, that also means that as an adult, you are responsible for your own peace and joy. It's your choice. You have a say in the matter. Life isn't just happening to you. You have a choice. So let's get into cost. What is the cost of this situation? What is the cost of why you struggle to say what you need? Well, what is the cost of not learning to push through and understand why you struggle to say what you need and make a different decision for your future? So, the cost. What is the cost of not changing? People can't, that can't was bad. Let me see. Let me get it right. People can't meet needs. Lord, I can't write today. People can't, I must be excited. People can't meet needs they don't know exist. So, say now you have a friend, right? And you have something that you want this friend to do. But you never communicate it because you're still thinking that this friend is just like the people you grew up with. So you don't even take the time to see if they are able to meet your needs. You already are just in assumption that just like when you were a kid, you wrote one of your needs and it was dismissed, however it was dismissed, whether it was laughed at, whether you were punished for it, whether somebody distanced themselves from you because of this need you have. You still think that the people you meet in your future, that they still fall under that same rule. And you never know that if you never try it out. The hardest part of what I'm asking you to do on this channel is to do something you've never done before. And sometimes people feel more comfortable doing things they've never done before. Like somebody might feel more comfortable hopping on a motorcycle and driving it 50 miles than they do to tell the person that they are with or even in friendship with that you hurt my feelings and I would like an apology, or I need some type of words of validation because I'm scared to do this thing, right? Some people are more comfortable to, like I said, hop on a motorcycle than they are to show that level of vulnerability to another person for fear of being in some way dismissed or rejected. So the cost of that is people can't meet needs they don't know exist. So even if a person would like to meet your need, if you never say that you have the need, they can't meet it. You don't know if they're a person who can meet it or not. So that's a cost. If you cannot say what you need, then you never actually get what you need because you won't communicate it. Resentment builds. This is another cause. Resentment builds quietly. Why does resentment build quietly? Because a lot of times people don't ask for what they need. They do it in hopes that somebody returns what they're doing, right? So somebody may bring you lunch to work every day of the week. And the only reason you're bringing them lunch is because you really want them to bring you lunch. And they never bring you lunch. But the other side of that is you never said, hey, it'd be nice for you to bring me lunch too, right? So they may just think you're being nice. They may just appreciate, what you're doing. But the reason you're really doing it is because you want them to do it too. But also you're avoiding the rejection of saying what you need and saying what you want. So instead of having this uncomfortable conversation and risking being potentially rejected, you don't say anything. So resentment builds. You blame them for not doing something you never even said you wanted. So that is a really fast way to be really resentful to people that you do things for. You should never do something for somebody because you think that they're going to do that exact same thing for you. That's not how that works. That's not to say that you're not deserving of the same exact thing. But if you want that thing, you got to open up your mouth and say something. You have to communicate so that that person knows exactly what you need. So don't live in resentment for not communicating and missing out on good relationships and good interactions with people because you're not brave enough to say what you need out of the situation. All right. Another cause, you abandon yourself. Abandon yourself before anyone else can. Anyone else can. Again, people are not mind readers. They do not know what you need. I don't care how many river dances, I don't care how many times you salsa around what you need. If you are not explicitly saying it, it doesn't exist. You are abandoning your own needs. If you do not explicitly communicate what you need, you are the one abandoning yourself first. They're not abandoning you. They don't understand. They don't understand the 1, 2, 3 around what you need. You cannot bank on people being able to read your mind, and you cannot fault them when they don't read your mind correctly. All that anger that you have toward them, all that resentment that you have toward them, you need to not point it towards yourself in the sense of being angry, but you need to point that energy into building yourself up to be courageous enough to share what you need. Yes, you could be rejected. I'm not saying that you can't be rejected. I'm saying that you're strong enough to handle the rejection. But if you don't think you're strong enough to handle the rejection, then you will never get a need met. You will never be able to be in relationship with somebody who can meet your need if you don't communicate it. And you are strong enough to risk that level of rejection because it's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you. It's a good way to figure out whether you're in relationship with somebody. This doesn't necessarily mean romantic. It could also be friendship. It's a good way to know that the person that you are in relationship with is a person that you should be in relationship with. Risk it. If you need something and they reject you, you know that that's not, y'all don't have a relationship that you think you have. So get it out the way and try again. That's the only way to actually get to the deeper level of connection. It's the only way to get your needs actually met within relationship. You're strong enough to handle the rejection. I promise you. I promise you, you're strong enough to handle it. Okay. So you abandon yourself before anyone else can. You think that nobody cares about your feelings because you didn't care about your feelings enough to actually state them. You were more wrapped in fear than you were about what could be. You're more concerned about the negative outcome than you are about the positive outcome. Oh, oh yeah, okay. I did miss one. Your relationships. I should have kept my eye on the ball on that one. Your relationships stay shallow and one-sided. Your relationships stay shallow and one-sided because you are doing for them, but you're not giving them an opportunity to do for you. You are keeping yourself palatable. You are refusing to share the more intimate things that you need for fear that they only love you conditionally. They only like you because you're easygoing. They only like you because you're able to crack a joke, right? You can handle things lightly. You feel like if you rock the boat in any way, that they're going to stop dealing with you. That's not true intimacy. True intimacy is not walking on eggshells. True intimacy is not divorcing parts of yourself to make yourself more acceptable to a person in order to stay in connection with them. If the only way to stay in connection with another person is by abandoning parts of yourself that actually need a hug, that's not a true relationship. That's not true intimacy. You don't want to build roots there. You don't want to build roots in a place that does not allow for your full humanity to be seen and experienced and supported. That's not what you want. And that's what you deserve. You deserve to be fully seen. You deserve for all your emotions as a human being to be empathized with, right? They may not always be your emotions may not always equate to you being right, but you should not be punished for your feelings. You should not be heard out. You should not be dismissed or disconnected from because you're having a difficult feeling. So, like I said, if you're walking on eggshells to keep the person that you're in relationship with, whether it be friendship, whether it be familial relationship, whether it be romantic relationship, if you are walking on eggshells in order to keep that relationship even keel, in order to keep it good and calm, you're not in a real relationship. That relationship has no intimacy to it. It's not a place where you can learn, grow, be productive. It's not that sort of relationship. So actually, if you were wondering whether or not you should be in a relationship with a person, if you can't do those things, it's a good sign that you shouldn't be. I know that wasn't one of the questions, but since we're here, I figure I'll give you that nugget. It's a really good indicator that that's not a place you should be. So this is the cost of not saying what you need. This is the cost of not being brave enough to be rejected. I know that rejection doesn't feel good. I especially know rejection doesn't feel good if that's how you grew up. If your childhood only informed you that difficult emotion is unsafe to show. I can imagine how difficult it is to think that anytime I show difficult emotion as an adult, the person that I'm with is going to abandon me. But I don't want you to stay stuck there. I don't want that to be the thing that you focus on, because that means that you're prioritizing somebody else's needs over yours. And if you're prioritizing someone else's needs over yours, who is prioritizing your needs? Do not abandon yourself because you don't think that you can get what you actually deserve. It is better to stay by yourself for a second, to reevaluate, and build healthier patterns and tools around relationship than it is to constantly come to go through a slew of bad friendships, to go through a slew of bad relationships, to continue to be hurt, to continue to build resentment because you're not expressing what you need. It is better to sit back and learn these things than it is to go out there and keep trying. It's really tiring, and it's not what you deserve. So be brave, be courageous. It's not your fault that this is how you grew up, but to be very, very honest with you, it is your fault if you don't change it. And like I said, that is the best news that I can give you, because it is also because of you that you can get what you want. If this resonated with you and you're like, okay, I hear you, but where do I begin? Like, how do I start unpacking some of this stuff so that I can get the courage to say what I need and be in intimate relationships with other people? Please, I invite you to my school community. It's Living Whole on the school platform, where we seriously deep dive into the whole method, where you learn how to utilize the whole method within your own life to better your relationships, to better your decision making around the things that lead you to fulfillment and lead you to joy. Again, the whole method comes with 5 different pillars: witness, heal, own, love, execute. And through those 5 pillars, you can really transform your life in ways that you could not imagine, because you didn't have the awareness that your life could change it that drastically. So if you would like to, the link to the school community is in my description. I feel like I keep saying bio. It's description. Excuse me. I'm not super techie, but that don't even mean I'm techie. I'm not super familiar with all platforms. That's really what I should be saying. But the link is in the description box to the school community, Living Whole. If you just enjoy these conversations and going over, these questions that maybe that you may be struggling with, or you see yourself in some of these questions, please like and subscribe so you can continue to be a part of the conversation, because I love you being here as well. If you don't like and subscribe, you may not see me again. You actually probably won't see me again. And if you just enjoy mental health conversations, to get your own mind, going about what's going on in your life, please join me on social media. I am Talk Therapy on the Go on Instagram and Talk Therapy on the Go on TikTok. Thank you for listening.